Greetings, everybody. I am Lobo, and welcome to Luna. This is episode 223 of my Minecraft survival series. And in the last episode, we did some much needed work to the rotunda here, got this door fixed, got these docks built with the goal of bridging the gap between Enchantry Island over here and Luna. We deepened our seas so their boats could pass. We are just trying to make things as hospitable as we can for all our allies here in Luna. And that includes, you know, all the loonies. It includes the Arcanine Order from Enchantry Island. And of course, it includes those folks over at Wolfins Labs over there, as we join forces to fight off this corruption that has been slowly seeping into our world, or sometimes quickly seeping into our world through no fault of my own. And a second threat, which I have been assured is just as dire as the first, the old ones and their preparation for their ascension, whatever that means. So, we have two apocalypses on our hands, pretty much, and we've decided as a group that we should probably deal with them, so I've been tasked with building a facility over here at Wolfins Labs, where we're going to attempt to do just that. You know, considering these facilities that we're going to be building are going to be staffed around the clock and that we and our allies are going to be working tirelessly to stop the corruption to find the old ones, I was thinking it makes sense that we don't run ourselves ragged in doing so, because that could work more to our detriment than to our benefit, right? So maybe it would be in our best interest to build a little area where we can come to and, you know, recharge our batteries, so to speak. Now, I did plan to make a little storage area over here in the quarantine district where we could store all our blocks for our Wolfins laboratory projects, but I mean, just looking at the area we have available to us, I think we could, you know, better utilize this space. So come on, puppies, we need to clear the work site. Also, there's probably other places you'd rather be than here, right? Nothing going on here yet. Come on, puppies, waiting on you. Oh, look at you over here. You're a good one, aren't you? Yes, you are. Look at you. You went around the water. That's perfect. That's great. Everybody else is being silly and going through the water, aren't they? Yes, you're such a good boy. Oh, look, here comes your friends. Unfortunately, pet time is over. Let's go. Nah, I'm just playing. You're all such good boys, aren't you? Yes, you are. You guys have been sitting outside for so long, maybe it's time you had a roof over your heads, right? Would you like that? And we do need someone to look over the House of Leaves, so yeah, this might be a good place for you guys. So yeah, I mean, this wasn't the project I was intending to work on this week, but I do think this is probably what we should work on: the accommodations, recreation, entertainment, and storage areas of Wolfins Labs. So I mean, now that we're set on that, we need to figure out how exactly we're going to build these areas, right? Now, these areas are going to have access to multiple different areas in Wolfins Labs Quarantine District, which means we do need to make sure that the transitions between the separate areas are as, you know, smooth as possible. Now, I'm not 100% decided on the layout yet, but let me show you what I got so far. So this is going to be kind of like a common area that will lead to other areas. We're going to have an opening at the center of this, which will drop us down into some of the lower areas of the quarantine district, most notably connecting us to the main section of our storage system. Well, what is the main section as of now, but what will eventually be overflow storage. We're also going to need this to connect to this area right here, which will lead us to the slime farm and to the botanical analysis division. And that, I think, just about does it for the underground sections, but we are going to be building up as well, because it's not just going to be this single floor, it's not just going to be this single room, right? Probably going to have to move a lot of this stuff to make way for other rooms, and probably going to have to reroute my redstone, since this kind of cuts into the room a little bit. Too easy, too easy. So we just kind of rerouted this so it's outside of where our room is going to be, and I think that's fine, actually. I do need to figure out, like, cement in the actual layout of this area, so give me a few minutes to kind of decide what we actually need to do here. You know, it would probably be easier to figure out the layout of this place if half the underground areas weren't, you know, taken up by solid earth. Because, I don't know. I think we might need to excavate here before I can really cement in the layout. I think that might be a good idea. Yeah, so some excavation needs to happen, some resource collection needs to happen for this and for other Wolfins laboratory projects we're going to be working on pretty soon. So I think at this point, it might be a good idea to go ahead and call Dee Dee on over here, put on a little bit of music and just get that taken care of. Well, our excavation down below revealed these areas are going to be cylindrical, so it makes sense that this top area would also be cylindrical. I mean, not perfectly cylindrical, roughly cylindrical, but definitely not a rectangle. I don't know what I was thinking. When do I ever build in rectangles anymore? I guess it was a little premature of me to go ahead and reroute my redstone and make other changes here before we even had the layout of the room figured out, but I mean, no harm done, and it's fine. So fine. But yeah, these rooms aren't perfect cylinders. They're a little bit more widthy than they are lengthy. So that should be a little bit more interesting. We also got some bubble elevators or honeyvators in here just to make travel between these different floors a little bit easier, since we are going to be going up and down a lot in this episode. And no, this entire episode is not going to be about planning. We're going to actually build something here, but, you know, planning is a big part of building, right? We need to kind of figure out what we're going to build before we build it. So give me a few minutes to kind of work on the layout a little bit, kind of figure out what is going to go where, and hopefully when I come back to you guys, well, I will actually have a plan. Yeah, I did say we were going to have multiple floors up here on the surface. Might be a good idea to have the elevator go to, you know, all of them. And by multiple, I do mean two. We're going to have 2 floors here above the surface, and now we can actually access the second one. And hey, as of now, I do have a rough plan as to what we're going to be doing. So up here on the second floor, we're going to have some storage. And this is not to detract from our actual storage system that we're working on. We are still going to be working on that. This is going to be more for the quarantine district specific blocks, the cyan terracotta, lime terracotta, the other stuff we're using over here in the quarantine district, just to make it easy to access when we are actually working over here, right? Because it makes no sense to lug stuff all the way to the storage system when we could just keep it over here where we're going to actually need it. So let me go ahead and show you what we have planned for this place. Over here, we're going to have like a snack area, amenities, stuff like that. These areas are obviously for the elevators. We're going to have our accommodations down here. We'll have 3 rooms, which I think should suit our guests. Watchdog, the revered book lady, and the other one. Down here, we'll have access to those lower areas that we talked about previously, and down there, we'll have access to our storage system. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. But I mean, now that we have the plan figured out for this place, now that we have the layout figured out for this place, we can go ahead and start getting the general structure of this thing built in. You know, our walls, our rooms, all that stuff, just get everything laid out roughly. And then after that, we'll come back and, you know, kind of work on the details and all that stuff. And I think we are just about ready to get started. So, at this point, let's go ahead and call Dee Dee. Oh, look at the puppies watching down this dark corridor. Make sure nothing nasty comes through here. Oh, you're so good, aren't you? Yes, you are. You're all so good. You're the best. You guys are doing a great job. Yeah, let's go ahead and call Dee Dee on over to the site. Put on a little bit of music and get to work. Welcome back, everybody. Behold, the newest addition to the quarantine district, the Accommodations, Recreation, Entertainment, and Storage Areas. Almost forgot the name there for a second, but that's fine. Super fun. As you can see, we have plenty of room here on the outside. Well, we have at least a block on the outside to get an exterior to this structure built before the walls, or, do something there. I'm not going to, get into what we're going to be doing there quite yet, but we do have the general structure in for the project that we're working on today. We have it linked up to our other areas. We have all our walls in. As you can see, we can just kind of move around here, so that's kind of convenient. As far as what our next steps are going to be, well, this place is kind of empty as of right now, so we do kind of need to dress it up. Oh yeah, let me also show you that since this is going to be where we're primarily working from, I put the doors in the wrong way. No. Since this is going to be where we're working from, I gave myself access to redstone, some of my maintenance areas and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and bring you around to some of those real quick. These back doors, they just kind of lead out to this back area where we'll be able to access stuff. There's not really going to be a build back here, but, it's just kind of convenient to have, access to different areas from this place. On this side, we're going to have access to the redstone for our potion brewers and stuff like that, just for convenience sake. And speaking about convenience, that's what this entire basement level is about, because keep in mind, we do have a lot of future work areas that are going to be located down here, accessible from the Botanical Analysis Division area, accessible from our slime farm area and all that stuff. So it is going to be nice to be able to go back and forth from our work site relatively easily compared to what we have been doing, provided that Luna actually survives the coming apocalypses. I should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine. Anyway, down here on the very bottom level of this place, well, we do have a bit of a flooding issue, it seems. This is where Wolfins Laboratories cooling systems empty out, and it seems like we may have a backup somewhere because it's kind of flooded this area. Maybe because I didn't put drains in the floor. I may need to get around to that. But this could also be the reason that the mines over here, which contain our storage system, are flooded. So at least we finally have an answer to that, right? Also, ignore this big gap right here. We're going to be building a door right here to kind of separate these areas. I'll get around to that in just a minute. And you know what? Oh, okay. We have the elevators for a reason. Let's go ahead and get started on the doorway now. We'll start at the bottom here and then kind of work our way up. Now, my idea for this doorway is that it should not look like a doorway from the storage system side, because we don't want to have anybody just accessing Wolfins Laboratory, right? So we want it to be more of a secret passage from that side, a doorway from this side. Let me clear out some area and try to figure out how we're going to accomplish that. Okay, well, this is how we're going to accomplish it. We're going to have this door basically pull apart to all sides here. So the sides will pull apart like this, and the bottom will pull down like that, providing us with a row of blocks to walk on so we can get across, right? And then the top, we're going to have a double piston extender, which is going to pull multiple blocks out of the way. And attached to all these slime blocks and honey blocks are going to be, actual blocks. It won't look like slime blocks and honey blocks, right? But that's going to give us our opening, right? So, yeah, pretty easy. Let me just go ahead and start getting stuff wired up now. Okay, 3/4 of the wiring is now in. We got the bottom and the sides done. The top double piston extender still needs to be done, but we'll work on that in just a minute. Let me show you what we got so far. So, once we hit the button, the door kind of just pulls itself apart, right? And we do have multiple buttons set up so that way we can, just kind of hit whatever and then make our way through here. Same thing applies to the storage system side. As you can see, when it closes, it works, but we do have some revealing issues right here, which do not work. So I'm thinking stairs probably aren't the best choice for this door, for this wall that we don't want to look like a door. So we'll go ahead and replace those and pretend I never showed you guys that. But as far as the redstone goes, let me show you what we got so far. You know what to expect, right? It is a mess because I made it, but it's at least a mess I can understand. And that's what's important. The final wiring is now in, and, of course, it's a double piston extender and I made it, so it's also a mess. But I think that's fine because it works, right? Yes, it does work. Wonderful. So that's our door opening sequence, and that is our door closing sequence. Wonderful. So at this point, I'm gonna throw some blocks on here and see if we can at least make it look halfway decent. All right, so I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do in these areas detail-wise, but I did tell you guys we're going to see the door, right? So let's go ahead and make our way through here. You can see what the door looks like from the storage system side. Once it closes, it is pretty inconspicuous, right? You wouldn't know that's a door, right? Unless you went right up to it, saw these buttons, and then clicked them, and then that gives us access to the inside. And you can see what the door looks like from this side if you ignore the shulker boxes. Once that closes up, also pretty inconspicuous. But now that we got the general structure of this place built and we got the door settled, all that's really left to do is details in trying to make this place look halfway decent, right? I think that's what we're going to go ahead and start working on next. So at this point, I think what we're going to do is put on a little bit of music and try to get the accommodations, recreation, entertainment, and storage areas all finished up. And that should just about do it. So I think we can safely say that these areas are now complete and we can take a tour of them and I can show you guys around. Okay, so this is the accommodations, recreation, entertainment, and storage areas. And I guess as far as showing you guys around goes, we'll start at the top and kind of work our way down, right? So, as we discussed, this is going to be connected to various different areas. It's connected to this hallway right here with the faulty lighting. It is connected to our quarantine hub, which we can look out upon and get easy access to any of the other areas from here. We do, of course, have our storage up here on the top floor and plenty of other, walls that we could convert into storage spaces, but I don't really need that much storage space as of right now. So we're just doing one wall. Now, as far as this main floor goes, well, this is more or less the accommodations, recreation, and entertainment area. As you can see, we got a little snack room back here, place for our guests to gather and kind of hang out, a little common area, right? We got maintenance areas and stuff like that, which I already showed you, but I'm going to be redundant. You guys should already know this about me. Down this back corridor, we have our accommodations for our guests, and hopefully they find these rooms suitable, I tried to build everything they could possibly want. They have a wardrobe for their stuff. They have a desk. They have nightstands with lighting on them, and yeah, I would live here. I think this is nice. I hope they enjoy it. We'll find out in a little bit. Over here on this side, well, maintenance again, and that's about it from here. Aside from the, the hidden lighting and stuff like that, we did hide some lighting here because this is, on the full block level, and we don't want our guests to run into any creepy weirdos that might spontaneously manifest in this area, because that is apparently something we need to worry about here. But that pretty much does it for this floor right here. Let's go ahead and make our way down a little bit lower to an area that's not necessarily meant for our guests. It's more meant for me once we start building up the quarantine district again. We talked about how we're going to access different areas from here, like the botanical analysis division, all that. We're going to be able to punch holes in the walls just like we did over here, just basically making a doorway into each of these walls once we actually do expand in those directions. Or we might just leave them walls, who knows? It depends on what we actually do decide to build here. Now, down here on the bottom level, well, we already talked about the door. You guys have already seen this in action, but since we're down here, we'll check it out. Okay. And last but not least, we'll have this area right here, which is just basically where all the water from Wolfins Laboratory drains into, well, nothing, because these drains are clogged up, which has caused a backup of flood into the storage system. But, that's fine. That's fine. But that's pretty much all there is to this. Now we need to go ahead and call our guests over and show them the place, see what they think of it. No, seriously, I think you're really going to like this. For once. These are going to be your accommodations while you're staying here with us in Luna. So, what do you think?
So rather than provide us with a means to track the old ones, as promised, you built a dungeon for us.
It's not a dungeon. I mean, look around. You got accommodations, you got recreation, entertainment, and storage. You got areas for everything. I mean, one could say this is the areas. These are the areas.
This is where you people live?
No. I mean, I have a house. Couple of them, actually.
Oh! Well then, we will take those.
I really. Okay.
Watchdog, kindly lead Enchantress Morriga and me to our actual accommodations.
Oh, I just can't wait for this to be over, because you are going to be so dead. It's going to be great.
Please don't make a mess in my house.
You'll be lucky if it's still standing. You can't have a messy house if there's no house.
Dungeon. What do you mean by dungeon? This place ain't like no dungeon I've ever seen. This place is nice. This place is my home for the foreseeable future. Anyway, I guess that's where we're going to go ahead and call it for today, guys. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please be sure to hit that little thumbs up button. That would mean a whole lot to me. And if you want to see more, please remember to subscribe. But as always, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, I am Lobo, and I will see you guys later.